Hey guys, welcome back to the Evans Family Garden. Today I wanted to talk to you about seed saving. It's really easy, something anyone can do. We're going to talk specifically about beans today because that's what I have in my garden that's ready to harvest for seeds. I wait until the plants are dead almost. They look crispy, they look sad, they look like they need water. I'm not picking any more of the beans off of it. Picking the fresh beans off of the plant tells the plant that it needs to keep growing and keep producing. So I don't want to do that. I'm leaving the beans on there, letting them get fully mature and dry out. And then I can pick them, and then they're ready to crack open and save the beans. So let's get out there and go pick some beans. Alright, so these are my beans. They did really well this year. They were like growing all up top all over here, and then they just started falling because there were so many. The weight of them just tumbled them over, and then I kind of just stopped picking them because we were tired of beans and I wanted to save the rest of them for seed. So that's what we're doing here today. I'm gonna pick any of the dry crispy ones, the ones you can hear a crunch on, and then we'll save them for seeds for the fall or for next spring. So let's see what we have here. There's still gonna be some that are green. So this one looks like it's dry and crispy, but it doesn't crunch yet. It's still wet. Still a little squishy. So I'll leave it on the vine, let it crisp up. Let's see. Still a little ways to go on most of these. See if I can get some of these, add to my pile. I picked some the other day. This one's pretty crispy. Can you hear it? Here's a crispy one. It's nice and hard, can't squish it all, so I'll pick that guy off. Save him. That's one of the purple potted pole beans. Let's see. This guy's pretty crispy. It's definitely getting to be that time of year. It's 97 degrees outside right now. It's hot. Cooler than it's been though. It's 109 the other day, 111 the day before. Let's see. Here's some. Oops. All right, I think I got most of them. I have the rest inside. This plant is dying. I'll probably pull it out here in a few more days, see how many more beans I can get off of it to save. But quick shot of my basil still doing great even in this heat, and then I've got a sweet potato growing. See the little flower? Kind of looks like morning glory flower. That's because they're related. And I've got some okra that's trying to grow. The bugs are getting to it though, so we'll see if I get any this season. There they are. Okay, let's go inside and get these seeds out. Okay, made it back inside, picked all of my beans that are ready. Man, was it hot out there, 97 degrees today. I don't usually go out this late in the day. It's 2 o'clock here now. Usually when I'm doing garden stuff, I like to go out earlier in the morning when it's cool so I don't start sweating, so I don't put too much stress on the plants. But because these plants are already dying, it's not going to affect them as much. And so with today being my only day off this week, there were some other important things I needed to get done, especially like the high energy using chores in the house, such as laundry and washing dishes, stuff like that. So I did all of that this morning while it was still cool, and then went outside in the heat, suffered just a little bit to get my seeds, but that's okay. Let's look at what we got today. So the reason I save seeds, one, it's really easy to do. Sometimes it's even fun, but it's one of the easiest things to do in the garden, especially with things like beans. Some of the flowers that I save marigold seeds. I'm going to be saving my basil seeds this year, so I'll take a video on that. The peas, we saved peas this last spring. I hadn't started my YouTube channel yet, so I didn't video any of that, but we got tons of sugar snap pea seeds. Just seeds are so easy to save, and you get so many seeds per, especially in beans, per little pod here. So like this one has like 2 seeds in it. That'll make 2 whole plants. Each plant's gonna make tons and tons and tons of beans, and to me it's so worth it. So why not? And if the seeds don't produce, like if they don't sprout this next season, then what waste was it? It was free right off of your plant, right? You picked it off of your plant, something you already spent money on, and you didn't have to buy another seed packet. I think it's so simple. So I'll show you the process why it's so simple. So the second reason, I already touched on it, but it's a money saver. Seed packets aren't that expensive, depending on where you get them from. I got mine from Baker Creek this last season. Depending on which variety that you get, they're anywhere from $2 to $5 per packet, and the amount of seeds that you get in them will last you several seasons. So it's totally worth it to buy the seed packets. But this year I won't have to buy the bean seeds because I have so many that I'm gonna save right now. So it is a money saver. It's also super rewarding. That's one of the main reasons that I garden. To me, the thought of being able to plant a seed in the garden, watch it grow, have it produce food for your family and feed your family for an entire season. We made so many meals with green beans, whether they were boiled or our favorite one we did was just fried in a frying pan. Blackened beans is what they're called, with some onions. I did sauteed onions and mushrooms, and even sometimes I threw in some sauteed peppers from the garden too. They were really good that way, sauteed with the beans, almost burnt beans. And that was, whether it was a full meal or I put it on a side with some pasta or something, it was really good. I used it as leftovers to take for work for lunch. It's just so rewarding to be able to plant a seed, have it grow an actual plant, watch it from this little tiny thing that you put in the ground and you water it and it grows so well, and then starts producing all of this produce to feed your family, it's so rewarding knowing that you did that. You put in time and effort into this one little seed, and it created a living thing to help you and your family. And then all of that produce that you get, it's less that you have to spend at the grocery store. So to me, it's worth it growing a garden. I've so enjoyed growing my garden every year, and I plan to continue to do it until I am old, and even when I am old, I will be out there as much as I can. You grew it right there in your backyard. You can go and pick it fresh and cook it for dinner that night and have it. It's so rewarding knowing that I can grow something to feed my family, that we're gonna have food on our plate. It's a security thing. Especially during this time, it's not as bad anymore, but with COVID going on, these past couple months, everyone has been concerned about where they're gonna get their food, because the grocery stores, you are seeing all of these products that were out. The shelves were empty. There was no meat. There was no food on the shelves, and people were feeling really insecure about where they were going to get their food. So being able to grow these seeds is a huge security, knowing that we're going to have something to eat. Maybe it's not our favorite meal every time, but it's still food. So that security and that sense of accomplishment that I achieved something, that's another reason I save these seeds, because these seeds are going to let me do that next year. So those are my 3 main reasons for saving seeds. So now let me show you how to save those seeds. It's really easy. Let me put my coffee down. So these are all the pods that I've collected. There are more on the plant, but they're not quite dry enough. One of the ways you can tell if it's dry enough, hear it rattle. They sound like dried leaves. When you go and crunch a big pile of dried leaves, this is what they sound like. That's what you want the beans to sound like. You want them to be dry and crispy where they crunch. Look at how beautiful this one seed is. I think this is the Good Mother Stollards beans. These ones are really good for drying. They're good for fresh eating too. You can, we used them in our stir fry and other dishes. I picked them when they were young and they were still really good. But these beans are really good for drying like this, and then you can take them, and if you save a bunch of them, these are more like what you would use for like pinto beans, and so you can make dishes and soups and everything out of that. I didn't grow enough this year to do that. I'm not gonna get enough for even one dish really. It was just an experiment year for me, trying different beans to see what we would like, if we would even like them, because Victor and I never really ate beans before. So I just wanted to try a large variety of different beans and see which ones I liked and which ones I didn't. So there's a few I'm definitely going to grow next year. The purple potted pole beans are one of my favorite ones so far. So what I have here, so I have my container of beans, and then I just grabbed this large container. This is what I'm going to use to crack all of them in so that it doesn't make a mess all over my table, because I just cleaned today. So I'm going to dump these in here and then put the beans back in the glass. These are just so pretty. Just to show you how simple this is, I pulled this off, just pinched it off, pulled it off. You don't have to pinch it, there's nothing there, so it snaps right off. You can kind of hear it rattle around. Can you guys hear that? It sounds like a rattlesnake. I don't know if you can hear that. But it's really simple. It's so dry. All I have to do, put a little bit of pressure, especially right on the creases, and it's gonna pop right open, pop in half. And there are your beans. And if they're really dry and loose, they're just gonna fall right out. But I'll just pop them out here into my container. I've got an empty half a pod and the other one. And these are those Good Mother Stallard beans. Look at how pretty they are. They're white with purple. White and purple, speckled, striped, whatever you want to call them. They're just so pretty. This is the purple potted pole bean. You guys know what it looks like when it's fresh. It is this deep purple color, like a Barney color almost, but it's this beautiful, beautiful purple color. And now that it's dry, it's become brown. It's still purple at the top here, you can see, but it's become all brown. It's just so interesting how they change through the different seasons. So, and then the seeds inside are brown. Not super pretty, but the pods, when they are fresh, are so beautiful on the vine. And they just add so much color to the garden. I love it. And they taste good. So, those are the ones that I love to cook fresh. I pick them when they're young. Pick them like the thickness of a pencil or smaller. Not too much smaller, but right around pencil thickness, and stir fry them up, and they're so good. Make a perfect side meal for your dinner. So I've finished with the pods that I picked today. Not too many, but they were ready to be picked, so I just went out and picked them. Something else for me to do when I have a day off. I don't get many days off. One a week, sometimes 2 a week if I'm lucky. They're not usually next to each other. So, and with everything else that I have going on, I wanted to make sure I got at least these guys to save. So, finished with all of these. These will go in the compost. That'll be a good dry element to add to the compost along with all the wet stuff that I add. So I'll set that aside. And then these are all the beans that I saved. So a decent amount. Definitely not enough to make a meal, of course. But this will be quite a good variety, little mixture here for me to plant in the garden next year. Now the beans, I don't start these in seed starters. The beans I just sow directly in the garden. Sorry. So beans I don't start in the seed starters. I put them directly in the garden, straight in the ground. There have been recommendations to soak your beans overnight so that they get a little bit of a head start. You can do that. You can start them on paper towels, wet paper towels, and see if they sprout, just to see if they're good. I have done it where I've started them, or I've soaked them in water. I've also just planted them straight into the ground. For me, they've worked both ways. I do like to soak them at least overnight or just a couple hours in the morning before I go and plant them. However works for you in your time frame, but then I just dig a small little trench almost and then drop the seeds in right next to the trellis where I want them to grow, cover it up, put some water there for them, water them every other day or so, and they grow really fast. They grow really, really fast, and then they start producing flowers, and beautiful, beautiful flowers, especially the purple potted pole beans. Those are these really plain Jane looking brown beans here, if you can see. But the pods are purple, beautiful purple color. The flowers are this beautiful purple color in the garden, and it is so pretty in the spring. Adds life, brings bees in, beautiful. So I will always plant beans, especially over my arbor trellis. It just creates this beautiful shaded area for my pups to lay in. Especially love it in the summertime. There's a little bit of shade, a little coolness when I'm out there, and it's just beautiful to look at. So I will always plant beans. Now that I have these seeds out of their pods and in a container, I might just let them sit out in this container one extra day, let them dry out a little bit more. I don't want to store them with any moisture because they could rot or create mold in the bag, and then all of the seeds would go bad. So I'm going to let them sit in here for about a day. Probably tomorrow morning, or when I get home from work tomorrow, I'm going to put them in a little Ziploc baggie and just label it mixed beans, because I have multiple different kinds in here. So I like to just put them in Ziploc bags. If you have paper bags, those are great too. It's your preference. A lot of people like the paper bags because they help absorb any extra moisture. It's one extra step that I like to take those to leave them out to get rid of any extra moisture, because the Ziploc bags will definitely hold in that moisture, and that's what I have. But it is easy to write on the Ziploc bags, and you can see through them, so it's easy to see what you're pulling out of your seed container. And then I just have, actually I have more totes like this full of my seed packets, and so I'll just add it to my seed packet collection. You can see those in one of my other videos, my fall garden planning video, where I talk about things. I might have to add beans to my fall garden, we'll see. They didn't do too well last year because the frost got to them. They are frost tender, so it depends on, I guess, how early I get my garden started here. It's been well over 100 degrees every day this week though, so it'll still probably be a month or two before I even start thinking about planting seeds. Thank you guys so much for joining me this hot summer afternoon. I hope you learned something about seed saving today and how simple it can be. I hope you feel encouraged to go and save your own seeds, knowing that anyone can do it. It's okay if they don't all make it, but it is so worth it. Seeing all of that hard work that you did this last summer and all of the produce that you got to enjoy off of it, and now you can save seeds and plant those same plants again next year. To me, it is so worth it, so rewarding. And if I can help you guys save seeds to share that joy with me, then that's what I'm gonna do. So look forward to my other videos. I'll be talking about marigold saving seeds and basil saving seeds later this season. And so stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you guys next time.